What are some of the most disturbing Wikipedia pages to read? ian.monsieurwikipedia.org/wiki/Luis_Garavito. Luis Alfredo Garavito Cubelos is a Colombian rapist and serial killer. In 1999, he admitted to the rape, torture and murder of 138 children and teenagers. His victims, based on the locations of skeletons listed on maps that Garavito drew in prison, could exceed 300. Garavito continues to confess to more murders. He has been described by local media as the world's worst serial killer. This paragraph had me in tears. Garavito targeted boys between the ages of 6 to 16 who were either homeless, peasants, or orphaned. He would approach the young boys, either on the crowded streets or alone in the countryside, and lure them away by bribing them with small gifts such as money, candy or odd jobs. He offered easy work for money and even disguised himself as different characters who could be seen as legitimately offering work to the boy, such as a priest, a farmer, a homeless man, a street vendor, a drug dealer, an elderly man, and a gambler, to prevent suspicions about his activities from developing. Garavito would change his disguise often. Once he had the trust of a child, Garavito would walk with the boy until they were tired and vulnerable, which then made them easy to handle. First, their hands were bound, then, Garavito would remove all their clothes, and proceed to torture, rape, and sometimes decapitate them. Usually the boy would endure prolonged rape and torture by having his buttocks stabbed and sharpened objects inserted into his anus. His testicles were often severed and placed into his mouth. The bodies of the children were all found completely naked, and all bore bite marks and signs of anal penetration. Bottles of lubricant were found near the bodies, along with empty liquor bottles. Most corpses showed signs of prolonged torture. Just looked up his Wikipedia page. Was curious if he was still alive, as I assumed he would be murdered in prison. Still alive, and held in protective custody as long as he cooperates with law enforcement and behaves. Because of the deeply flawed criminal system in Colombia, he was set to be released after only 12 years. Then a journalist did a documentary and all the people in the country were shocked and horrified. Everybody knows how he looks like now because of the documentary, so if he gets released it won't take long for him to show up dead. Removed. That dude was badass alright. If he had made any plea they would have found him guilty and taken his land. With no plea, all his shit passed down to his sons. Actually, what's fun about it all is that he had sort of figured out that the witch trials seemed to be a land grab. So he had it arranged that none of his sizable estate was in his name or immediate family's name. Instead, he arranged it so his sons-in-law acquired it all. Regardless of his plea, they wouldn't have been able to seize his land. So he did not enter a plea, and famously asked for more weight as a direct protest to the bogus trials that the others had faced. It helped that he was in his 80s at the time and didn't have a ton more life to look forward to. But some do say the witch trials ended as a direct result of his protest. Edit. It seems like I'm correcting you, but I actually just wanted to expound upon it. It's one of my favorite stories I learned when I visited Salem, MA a few months ago. Edit again, since I kind of have the spotlight. Another fun piece of trivia. In 2001 the state of Massachusetts officially exonerated what I assume were the last 5 women who were executed as unrepentant witches. So this whole thing kind of has echoes being felt in the 21st century. One more edit. Some people disagree with my understanding of the story. I may be wrong. I never studied early colonial legal history like some in this thread have. I'm just reciting what was told to me during my time in Salem, Monsieur, so enjoy the story, because it may only be a story. Today I learned posting is about to pick up. Pasashiauchi in the 1999 Tokamura nuclear accident. What happened to this poor soul is more terrifying than most horror movies. Beware of the pictures. You've been warned. I remember this one. The level of radiation literally shattered his DNA and he slowly melted from the inside over a period of weeks. If you go on Wiki and search predictions by year, it sucks to see all the stuff we will miss out on. Go to year 2100, 2500, 4000, 9000. So much cool shit. Eventually it gets to a point where the universe is supposed to end. Scary to think about. The most important thing to remember here is that nobody gets to live long enough to experience more than 5 amazing things in these periods. At most, no one person is given the opportunity to view all these events. Edit. So cherish the events of the present. The history of S21, or the Khmer Rouge genocide camp in Cambodia. The most shocking thing is that it all happened between 75 and 79, such a fresh piece of traumatizing history that still has ripple effects in the country to this day. Edit. For context, I'm currently working as a volunteer in an NGO working to aid children living in misery in Cambodia. Since this comment has gotten a bit of visibility, I wanted to first of all encourage all to learn about the history of Cambodia, as well as the work that's being put in to remedy some of the issues that are directly related to this country's history. As some have said, visiting S21 is undeniably a must for those visiting the country, but the wiki will do for most information. The NGO I work for is called For a Child's Smile, Pour un sourire d'enfant, and you can learn more about the multitude of efforts it practices at www.say.go. Many of the children we aid come from poor and often abusive families. This abuse comes in the form of violent physical harm, as well as mental abuse and negligence, malnutrition. Such practices are common due to many parents' violent pasts as child soldiers under the Khmer Rouge. No matter your political affiliation, I believe it's important to confront yourself with some of the horrors of the world, as some even as recent as this are forgotten or overlooked even now. And the Khmer Rouge regime is an important part of this. Thank you to those who took the time to read. If you think reading about it is bad, try visiting the prison, X-school, and killing fields in Cambodia. The prison is the second most depressing place I've ever been in my life. The first being the killing fields that stink of decaying flesh with bones and remains of clothing rising to the top every time it rains heavily. It's a traumatizing experience and astounding that the almost entirely young locals are such genuine, nice, friendly, optimistic people wherever you go in the country. With that said, I hear Chinese investment has changed the country massively in the past couple of years. TL. Doctor. Oh, you can write? Executed. Oh, you have glasses? Executed. Oh, you have a different ideology. Executed. Oh, you're unhealthy, handicapped. Executed. Oh, you're educated in communism. Executed. Oh, you support the Khmer Rouge. Executed. Oh, you have a high IQ? Executed. Yo, am I gonna be on a list for clicking all these links? The scariest thing about this thread is the slow dawning you have when you realize if governments actually cared about a lot of this stuff we are reading about here, a lot of it would have never have happened. But hey, they gotta make sure pot dealers and tax evaders do their prison time right. I need to stop going on AskReddit because there's always a fucking thread like this that reminds me that there's beyond fucked up things in this world. Creepy Wikipedia. Giles de Reyes looked him up after watching an anime with a character based on Hi Monsieur Instant Regret. If you talking about Fate Zero, the feeling gets a bit worse better? After playing Fate Grand Order since his version before becoming Bluebeard appears as a different class, not caster. And although he's boring, you can really appreciate his dedication to Jean. If only things didn't take a turn for the worse. Didn't expect FZ nor FGO being mentioned in this thread. But this is how I became aware of him as well. All the types of cancer. The human centipede synopsis. Someone can go ahead and link it for me since I'm never opening that page again. The human centipede. First Sequence is a 2009 Dutch horror film written, directed, and co-produced by Tom Six. The film tells the story of a German surgeon who kidnaps 3 tourists and joins them surgically, mouth to anus, forming a human centipede, a conjoined triplet. It stars Dieter Laser as the creator of the centipede, Dr. Joseph Heider, with Ashley C. Williams, Ashlyn Yenny, and Akihiro Kitamura as his victims according to Six. The concept of the film arose from a joke he made with friends about punishing a child molester by stitching his mouth to the anus of a fat truck driver. Inspiration for the film also came from Nazi medical experiments carried out during World War II, such as the crimes of Joseph Mengele at the Auschwitz concentration camp. WTF is that? Why would anyone make that? Look up the second and third movies. Emo the second is the worst. First one is a proper film with just a really grim and disturbing idea behind it. But the second one is straight disturbing. It's really fucked up. The third one is a total comedy. Yep, just said that to someone else in the thread. The first one I can say fuck it and enjoy. It's weird, it's stupid, it's creepy, whatever. The third one always seemed more of a fuck it, what's left to do, parody, stupid AF, but also worth a chuckle or two. Human Centipede 2? Fuck right the fuck off with that noise. Watched it once, and I'd rather watch Son of the Mask a second time before watching HC2 again. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.